Hello, and welcome back to Honors Spotlight, the podcast that celebrates the bold journeys and unique voices of our MTSU Honors College community. I'm your host, Robin Lee, and today's episode takes us halfway across the world, literally. We're thrilled to be joined via Zoom by John Tate, a recent MTSU graduate, video and film production major, and honors student whose creative spirit and love for Japanese culture led him to a life-changing opportunity. John's senior thesis about Go-Go Challenge, a Japanese-inspired game show he created, was just the beginning. Now, through the prestigious JET program, he's living and working in Japan, fully immersed in the culture he's admired for years. In this episode, we'll talk about his transition overseas and what it's like navigating life and work in a new country, and how his time at MTSU helped prepare him for the adventure of a lifetime. Welcome, John. I know it's late for you and super early for me, but we are going to make this work today.
Yes, thank you for having me, and thank you for the introduction. I couldn't have said it better myself.
So I know that you arrived in Japan in August. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I arrived on August 3rd.
So how does it feel to live there after everything that you worked for?
Uh, you know, it's um it's a really interesting feeling. The jet application took months and months and months, and finally when it was time to get on that airplane and move halfway across the world, it was definitely um a very interesting feeling having all of that work be finally come for full circle. So it was a really great feeling to be able to get on that plane and watch America disappear as Japan came into view.
Can you tell us more about your decision to apply to the JET program and what drew you to Japan in the first place?
Yes, so I applied to the JET program not only because I have an interest in Japan, but I also have an interest in Japanese television. I first saw real Japanese television when I was staying overnight in Tokyo after I had landed uh, going to my study abroad last summer. I got into my room, turned on the TV, and the first thing I saw was just pure Japanese television. It was a commercial for a teeth cleaning device, and the way that they presented it was just so different than anything I'd ever seen in America that it really inspired me to want to work in that field. And as a video and film production major with a concentration in live production, this was something that I thought would be a great opportunity. So as I started looking around at opportunities to get to Japan, to be able to maybe one day work in that industry, I stumbled across the JET program from a brochure in the Honors College, and one thing led to another. I ended up applying, and here we are.
For our listeners who may not be familiar with the JET program, can you explain what it is and your role while you're living in Japan?
Yes, so the JET program stands for the Japan Exchange Teaching Program. Um, it sends people from all over the world, but uh, mostly Americans, to Japan to be assistant language teachers or ALTs. Now there's also uh, the CIR role, which is for people with more Japanese experience, but for the most part, ALTs are the main people that they send over. The job of the ALT, the job itself is to be, as the name implies, an assistant language teacher. You will be teaching English, from a variety of grades. I am an elementary school teacher, so I teach primarily third through sixth grade, sometimes first and second grade. But there are also junior high school jets, and there are also senior high school jets as well. So depending on your placement, you could be teaching a variety of different age groups. But while teaching is the job, JET is also about being a cultural ambassador. And so, while I'm teaching English, I'm also sharing about the United States, talking about maybe what holidays we celebrate or what customs we have, and it just broadens the scope of what Japanese children know as what the world is.
So, what are your personal and professional goals for your time in Japan?
So, uh, personal goals, I really want to build a good connection with my community. Um, I've been working with my local church to help with their video projects. I've been attending different international, or sorry, I've been attending different events with the international association that we have here to help spread uh, awareness. Let me go back. I've been doing events with the international association, things like playing board games and doing volunteer English lessons. And so I really want to just make a name for myself in the community and uh, be able to be a positive reinforcement of what an American is. But professionally, I have goals of getting into the Japanese television uh, industry. Uh, Long term, I'd like to work in sports broadcasting, which is what I focused on at MTSU. And I'm also trying to learn more Japanese by being here. And so I have a wide variety of goals, but I think it can all be achieved if you have the right mindset on the JET program.
I know before you mentioned that you had been to Japan before you started with the JET program. So now that you're there officially for at least a year, what has been the transition's most surprising or unexpected part? Is there anything about life in Japan that you didn't anticipate?
Um, I think when I had studied abroad last year, I was in Kyoto, which is a major tourist area. And so most of the people that you come across who are Japanese are going to be able to speak at least enough English for you to be able to get by. Maybe go to a restaurant, order something off the menu, go to a convenience store, typical everyday stuff. It's really not too bad. But in Inagawa, which is the town that I am placed in, there's really not a lot of English, so it's been a big hurdle to overcome that language barrier. But it's been good because it really has pushed me to want to learn the language and more of a need to do it. And that it's definitely been a challenge, but I'm very fortunate to have that challenge because that means I'm learning new things every single day. Um, as far as culturally, um, they don't really use dryers over here, which has been really hard to get used to. I've had to hang dry all my clothes, which is something I have never really had to do in my 21 years of being on this earth. So um, that has been a shift, but honestly, I feel like I've adapted pretty well. Obviously, not everyone is going to be able to be like that, but I think if you uh, accept that you're going to a new country that might be unfamiliar to you, but enjoy the differences rather than see them as a bad thing. I think Japan is a really great country to live in.
So do you get to see other JET participants while you're there, or are you on your own?
So for my uh, let me restart. So yes, I do. My neighbors are also JET program participants. My neighbor Tyler is from Kansas, and he is at another elementary school. And then there's also Matthew, who is two doors down from me, who is from Seattle, Washington. And he is at another elementary school, as well as Sarah, who is from California, and she is at a senior high school. And so I'm very fortunate to have multiple different people to not only call as neighbors but as friends, and they have definitely helped ease me into the process of being into a new country. So um, I can't speak for everyone. There are definitely some people who may not have as many jets in their area as I do, but um, you will always have that network of jets in your prefecture or just across the country that you can talk to if you need a helping hand.
So let's back up a little bit and talk about your thesis project, the Go-Go Challenge. You did that here on campus. So what was it like creating a Japanese-inspired game show? And how did your time at MTSU prepare you for such a unique project?
Go-Go Challenge actually originated as a baseball game that would have been held between Japanese people in the Murfreesboro area. But due to some technical complications, we weren't able to make that happen. So, me and my uh, thesis director, Robert Gordon, um, talked about it, and we both had the same idea that we wanted to make a Japanese style game show. Um, and so we got to work, and it was a lot of work. We had to plan, what the challenges were going to be, who the contestants were going to be, who the people working on the production were going to be. Um, there were so many different things that had to be planned that it did get somewhat, you know, it was a big project and it did get a little stressful at times, but I was used to handling that stress and managing it because of our wonderful live production program that we have at MTSU. I think we have the best live production program in the country. Prepares you in every single way for doing ESPN Plus broadcasts, concerts, just about anything live production. I think MTSU is the best school for it in the country. So I definitely have to thank my professors and my peers for um, helping me along the way and definitely making Go-Go Challenge what it is today. It couldn't have been done without their help.
And I know even recently we had people on Reddit asking about part two. So I am going to share your full video link whenever this episode airs so that everybody can see that video as well if they want to watch the full Go-Go Challenge episode.
Yes, technically it is finished, but I think as I pointed out when I replied to the poster on Reddit, um, it is missing some graphics and some other little things that make it slightly incomplete. So I'm hoping maybe within the next couple of months, finally finishing it and being able to post it publicly on YouTube for all to watch.
It is like a typical video producer answer. You were never satisfied with the final product, and there's always something to make it better.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. There will always be things that can be improved, but it has to come out at some point, and it can never be perfect. So,
What lessons did you learn while producing Go-Go Challenge? Do you see those lessons applying to your future career?
yeah, I think one of the big lessons, two actually, I feel like two of the big lessons that I learned. The first one was be adaptable. Um, Go-Go Challenge, as I said, it started as something completely different. It was going to be a baseball game. And when that didn't work, we had to think of something else. So we made a Japanese game show. When we were thinking of the different obstacles and challenges for the contestants to do, we had five original ones that I wanted to do, but due to maybe money, insurance, liability, all sorts of different problems that we ran into, we had to change what the challenges would be. And so, it did stink, having to change, what I wanted my vision to be, but I think in the end, being willing to change, was what, made this show possible in the first place. And then secondly, I think the second biggest, thing that I learned from producing Go Go Challenge was to, you know, do difficult things. Go Go Challenge was not something that I thought was easy. Um, it was a very, very difficult thing for me to produce. And there were times where I thought that it was going to be complete crap, because it just didn't seem like things were going my way. But through perseverance and adaptability, I was able to make it work. And in the end, I was very proud of what I had done. And so, I think that just goes to show that, in life, there will be things that are difficult, that are going to beat you down sometimes. And it might be hard to continue going on. But, if you stick with it, and if you uh, persevere and keep your wits about you, then, I think you can really make something great happen.
I think being adaptable is really great advice, not just for trying to make a game show, but even just for those doing their thesis projects in general, because there will be things that come up and they're like, you know what, I need to switch gears on what my aim is with this thesis and explore something different. Or even just in life, whether they're scientists doing research or whatever. So, yeah, be adaptable is a huge thing, I think, for anybody as far as life advice.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
So, other than having to hang your clothes to dry them, for anyone considering living abroad or applying to the JET program, what advice would you give based on your experience so far?
Uh, well, since I know that the application deadline is coming up in November, one big piece of advice I would say is make sure you get all of your materials in on time. I was nearly not here because last November I had not seen that there was a graduation, proof of graduate or proof of future graduation, I suppose, form that I needed to have filled out. And on the deadline day, I saw that, and it was roughly about 6 p.m. at night, and it had to be filled out by my advisor, or the dean of my college, both of which are kind of hard to reach at 6 p.m. Uh, on a weekday night. Um, so I through somehow, I was able to contact my advisor a couple hours before the deadline, and she was able to sign the form on her phone, which was a very very scary thing, thinking that I might not have been able to submit everything. And so let that be a lesson. Make sure you get everything in early. Do not wait until the last second to turn in your materials. Um, but as far as the JET program itself, um, I think there's going to be a lot of culture shock for a lot of people. A lot of things that are just done differently here. I mean, heck, I just bought a car recently, but I've never driven on the left side of the road or driven in a car that's on the steering wheel is on the right side. And so it's that's a big change, and there's going to be a lot of big changes. But I think, like I said earlier, if you're just adaptable, rolling with the punches, I think, and just keeping an open mind, I think you're gonna have a fantastic time in Japan. I know I have.
So just out of curiosity, is there any special, like, do you have to redo your driver's test to drive on the other side of the road, or do you just fill out a form, or how does that work?
So, before you leave, you can go to AAA and you can get something called an IDP, an International Driver's Permit. And that international driver's permit is good for 1 year after the date that it's stamped for. And basically, that will allow you to drive in Japan with your US license until it expires. And then when it expires, as a if you are a Tennessean and have a Tennessean license, you will have to take a Japanese driver's license. Tennessee, unfortunately, is not one of the states that is allowed to have your license transferred to a Japanese license. And so, if you do have a Tennessee driver's license, you will have to take a Japanese driver's test, which are notoriously difficult. So definitely get your IDP if you want to drive. It will at least cover you for the first year. And then after that, you will have to get your Japanese driver's license.
Do you envision living in Japan long term, or do you have plans to return to the US later?
I think that really depends on what I can. mm, I think that really depends on what opportunities I can uh, get a hold of in the future. Obviously, I have aspirations to work in the Japanese television industry, and so ideally, I would like to be here somewhat long term. Maybe not, you know, 10, 15, 20 years. I'd definitely like to come back to the US at some point. But I think uh, if I can find opportunities in that industry, definitely longer than 3. But um, if things don't work out for me, if I'm not able to find anything, if my Japanese doesn't get good enough by the time that I want it to, then I really have no problems with coming back to the US and doing what I would have done here back home. So it's honestly a win-win for me either way. But I'm definitely doing my best to try to make my dream happen.
Can you share one takeaway from your time abroad so far?
One takeaway. I think moving to Japan has been um a very exciting, sometimes scary experience, but um, I think one of the biggest things that it's really taught me is just to be adventurous. Maybe do things you never thought you would have done. Um, I if I had told myself 4 3, 4 years ago when I started college, that after graduation I would be moving to Japan, I wouldn't have believed myself, because that was simply just, you know, it's a crazy thing to think of, but, I think learning about the JET program and wanting to apply has really made me want to, uh, move out, of my home, to see different parts of the world, you know? America is a big country. There's a lot to explore. But there's a much bigger world outside of the US, and I think it's really important for people to get to experience that world, because there's just so much culture that you can experience apart from our own. So honestly, and that can be applied to even just life in the US, um, being willing to take risks and do things that maybe you normally wouldn't do, but are willing to try. I think that's really important, and that really shapes you into a more uh, cultured and thoughtful person. Um, and so if I would had to say one takeaway about moving to Japan, I think that by doing this, it has really broadened my horizons, and I think it's been a wonderful opportunity, just to experience something that you really only get to experience maybe once in a lifetime. So take chances, go after it, be adventurous.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for staying up late with us so that we can record this episode all the way across the world and share it with our listeners. Hopefully, it will inspire some people to apply for the JET program or even to just study abroad in general and expand those horizons like you were talking about. So, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. And if you're one of those people out there who are interested in doing the JET program, but you're not quite sure, go for it. You'll thank me later.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Honors Spotlight. We hope you enjoyed getting to know the people, passions, and stories that make the MTSU Honors College so unique. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the podcast with others. You can also follow the Honors College on social media to stay up to date on future episodes and events. To learn more about honors at MTSU, visit honors.mtsu.edu. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep being extraordinary.